Hey everyone, my name is Lara and I'm a wedding and portrait photographer from Colorado. Today, I'm really excited to make this video because I am sharing with you some of my secrets on how I've managed to be a career wedding photographer for 15 years now. One thing I've learned through this whole experience is it really helps to partner with some amazing brands and some awesome companies that make your workflow so much easier. Today, I'm going to be talking about 3 companies that have absolutely changed the game for me when it comes to my process. And those people are Fundy, MagMod, and Aftershoot. So I'm going to talk about my workflow and how I incorporate these 3 companies into my photography studio to make my life so much easier and deliver an amazing experience to my clients. So the first thing I want to talk about in my workflow is my incorporation of MagMod. MagMod has been absolutely instrumental in creating some amazing images for my couples. As a wedding photographer, as you can imagine, I am always on the go and I'm not always in controlled shooting environments, right? So it's important to me to be able to quickly change modifiers as quickly as the conditions are changing as well. So whether that's rain or snow, or if, maybe the lights go out in a wedding venue, that actually has happened before where all the lights went out. What do? Well, yeah, you use off-camera flash, of course, if you're a professional, but if you just use flash by itself, you're not going to really have that much control over your light. So that's where MagMod comes to the rescue. And I want to show you some examples of a wedding that I captured recently where I used MagMod in a lot of different situations. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move over to this screen right here. And this is an example of a wedding that I captured recently where, again, MagMod really came to the rescue here. So I've selected just a few photos from the day that I thought really were a really good representation of how I use modifiers. So I have a wedding pulled up here as an example. And the reason why I wanted to show some photos off from this wedding is because it really shows the versatility of how you can use MagMod modifiers into your workflow. Let's go ahead and start with this particular image. This was such a fun, creative shoot to do. The groom really wanted me to get some photos of him smoking a cigar, and what a better time to do that during the evening of your wedding reception. So I actually used a couple different modifiers here to achieve this shot. So the first thing was a MagMod MagGrid, and I really like the MagGrid because it helps control the direction of your light. If you're just to use nothing but bare flash, yes, you'll be able to illuminate your subject, but it's going to throw light everywhere. In a particular situation like this, where I only want just their faces illuminated, I use that MagGrid to help prevent that light from just going everywhere. So I have that on the camera left side of the image, pointed straight at the bride and groom. I also have a second light behind them, also with the MagMod MagGrid, so it doesn't just throw the light everywhere again, but this time I have a red gel over it to help give them that red illumination of the smoke. So by using the MagGrid here, which is one of my favorite tools from them, it'll allow me to control, shape my light, and make some really awesome photos just like this. Other situations where I'll use it as well are like during the ceremony, for example. So here's an example of a wide shot where I didn't want too much light to fall onto the scene here. I just wanted it on the couple right here. So one thing I'll probably do when I go back into editing this image is I'll edit out these little highlights right here just because I find them a little distracting. But as you can see, because I'm using the MagGrids, it's helping prevent light from just spilling everywhere and only going onto the couple. Right here as well, this is another example of where I love using MagMod stuff. Behind them, I'm using a MagSphere on my Geekoto GT200 flash, and that's just softening the light a little bit so it's not super powerful on them, and it just makes it for a little bit more, makes for a more dreamy, ethereal experience. And I'm also pairing that MagSphere with the MagGrid again, so it doesn't throw light everywhere and just kind of concentrates it right on them. Another tool I really like to use, especially during the wedding reception, is the Mag Bounce. The Mag Bounce is great because it allows you to shoot either on camera flash or, flash just very close to your camera if you wanted to handhold it, but still get some soft quality light, right? A lot of times there are situations where the dance floor is so packed that even with using off-camera lighting, it's really hard to minimize the amount of shadows that are on your subjects. So sometimes I'll just handhold a flash with a mag bounce to help me get more even light. And also too, you know, if people are doing stuff or people are dancing away from the dance floor and you don't have your light set up near there, it's nice to always have a flash with you so you can walk around, do some grab and grins, but have some sort of modification to your flash so it's not so harsh. So as you can see, I'm using MagMod a lot throughout the wedding day. There are so many situations where being able to shape and control my light and get creative with it really helps my work stand out from everyone else's. I would say the three most commonly used modifiers in my toolkit are going to be the Mag Grid, the Mag Bounce, and the Mag Gels. But I use their whole range of products, including their soft boxes, their Mag Sphere, their XL modifiers. There's so many different cool things that they have to help photographers get creative with Flash. I've been using them for about 8 years now, and they have honestly just completely changed the game for me. Now, let me know if this sounds like you. One of the more daunting part of our tasks as wedding photographers is editing the photos. Now, if you're anything like me, you're coming back from a wedding with 4, 5, 6,000 images that you've captured, and I would rather be outside in Colorado going camping or off-roading or fishing or doing something other than just sitting my butt at a computer all day editing. I know I don't want to spend 8 hours editing a wedding. Well, one thing you can do and one thing that I do to make my life so much easier is to incorporate Aftershoot into my editing workflow. Aftershoot is an AI editing, culling, and soon to be retouching software that speeds up your process so much. And I want to show you exactly what it does and how I use it to give me more time in my life back. There are so many ways that you can use Aftershoot, but I personally just like the editing feature. I don't use the culling so much just because I'm really particular about every frame that I capture at a wedding. And honestly, I just don't overshoot a lot, so I don't really find the need to cull that much. But if you are someone that does take a lot of photos, please use the culling feature because it will save you so much time. So today I'm going to show you what I do, and I use the editing feature. So what I'm going to do is go into Aftershoot, and I'm going to load my Lightroom catalog. So we're going to go ahead and pull this up. Now, once we've selected our catalog, I'm going to find the folder of the images that I want to edit. I'm going to select the folder of the images. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the right. So the very first thing you need to do, especially if you're a first-time user, is you need to create a new AI profile. So there's one of two things you can do. You can explore the Aftershoot marketplace where they have a bunch of pre-built AI styles for you to choose from. This is actually really cool, especially if you're a newer photographer and you want to explore some things that maybe other photographers are doing and maybe get a little bit of inspiration on some editing styles. Or you can create your own personal AI editing profile, which is what I've done, and you can actually train Aftershoot on how you want it to edit for you. So I've already done this, so we're going to go ahead and skip this part. But for the sake of this video, I've created just a test profile, and that's what that's called. But you can name it Sean's super dope nasty profile or whatever you want. Camera standard profile, that's pretty much just what I leave it on. I like to retain as much of Nikon's colors as possible. I really like Nikon's color profile. AI cropping, I definitely always select this because I personally really like my images to be a little bit tighter, cut out all of the negative space. So I'll have that on. I like to have it a little loose, not too aggressive. AI straightening, if you have a very uneven photo, this is really nice to just have Aftershoot do it for you. AI masking is something that's new, and this is really cool because it'll actually create an image mask on all of your subjects. And this is really cool because when you go into Lightroom to make your final edits, if you want to have a subject already selected, you can easily increase or decrease the exposure on them, which is super helpful. What we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to go to Edit Photos, which is the bottom screen here. And then now my album is queued. We got almost 4,000 photos that we're going to go ahead and have Aftershoot edit. And then once this is done, which should only take a few minutes, we'll go ahead and come back to this video and let you know how it went. All right, so now Aftershoot has applied our edits. So let's go ahead and review them in Lightroom and see what they did. So I've just opened up Lightroom, and now we can see exactly what Aftershoot has done. And I won't go into too much detail, but basically what Aftershoot has accomplished is it's allowed us to go through all of these photos now with, for the most part, proper exposure, some cropping adjustments. It's just made life so much easier when we go through and re-edit these photos. And as I mentioned earlier, this is so beneficial for when we have, multiple photographers working with us. And, my seconds aren't always as, diligent at getting the photos as perfect off the camera as possible. So being able to have Aftershoot do a lot of this for me just saves me so much time, and I can go off doing way more things in my life that I want to do. And finally, the last workflow tip I want to give you all is how to use Fundy. So once the wedding is photographed, edited, and delivered, now what it's time to do is to try to upsell our clients, and not only just to our benefit, but to give them a keepsake, something tangible that they're going to love and treasure for years to come. And that's where Fundy is a very integral part of my workflow. The great thing about Fundy is it allows us to do so many awesome things with our photos other than just having them sit on a hard drive collecting dust, or virtual dust, so to speak. So one of the features I love about Fundy, and the feature I've been using for almost 10 years now, is the Album Designer. But recently they've come out with a couple of awesome new features as well that I'm going to show you right now. All right, so we have the Fundy Designer suite pulled up, and what I'm going to do is take that same wedding I was just showing you, and I'm going to create an album. So the cool thing about this software is you can select which album design company that you use, or album print company, I should say. I'm personally a fan of DreamBooks Pro, so I'm going to go ahead and use them. Because we're here in America, we use the Imperial measurement system, which is far superior to everything else. That's a joke. I like 10, or actually I like 12 by 12. That's like my favorite album size, nice and square, nice and big. For this particular example, I'm not going to go ahead and use a cover. Let's call this just sample album. That's dope. And we're going to go ahead and create the album. So now this is where we have so many amazing options, and I could speak on this for an hour. So, and I don't have that much time, so I'm just going to show you a couple of my favorite features. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the design wizard here, right? And this is where I can go ahead and tell Fundy what I want to do with my album. So as you can see, I already have my album company selected, the size. I want it to design an album for me. A couple other things I like to play with here are the aspect ratios. I like to match the original in case I have like a panoramic image or a square image. I'm going to go ahead and tell Fundy to design 30 pages for me. We have 78 total images, so I won't mess with that. I don't want it to put any less than 2 images per spread, and I don't want it to put any more than 10 images per spread. So now we're going to go ahead and design the project, and this is the album that it's designed for me. It's that quick. Now, let's say you're going through this and you're like, you know what? I'm not super stoked on some of these designs. Like, for example, I don't like this negative space on the side. Well, what you can do is you can change the layout, basically. You can change it to full screen, or you can do quick changes right here. Where it'll mess with the design. We have so many different options here. If you wanted to drag and drop, you can drag and drop these images. You can put all of them on one page. Again, you can just mix up the designs here to switch the layout, make something that's a little bit more appealing to you. You have so many options, and I encourage you all to play with this because there's some really cool features in the album design wizard. A couple other things that Fundy does now, if you wanted to do wall art, you can actually take a photo of your client's bedroom or office or whatever, and you can show them what some of the photos are going to look like in their space, which is honestly just so freaking cool, and it really helps upsell your clients. Another fairly new feature are thank you cards. So you can actually have auto design templates for your thank you cards if you want to upsell your clients on that. Another thing that is brand new that I am personally stoked about are beat match wedding or just photo slideshows. So if you want to add some extra value to your clients and give them a free photo slideshow, you have all of these options here to help accomplish that. So I really like the beat match slideshow style, and you can select a few parameters here. I won't go into too much detail because I have another video on this, but you can actually, with just a couple clicks of a button, create an entire slideshow of all of these images and upload it to your website. You can send the link directly to your clients. You can download a high resolution version. So many really cool features. And let's say you wanted to create all of these features at once: the wedding slideshow, the wedding album, the thank you cards, etc., etc. You can go to the new Design for Me tab right here, and you can actually create some presets. So once you hit this Auto Design Now button, it'll create all of these for you at once, which is so, so cool. And that is it. So those are some of my secrets on how I've been able to manage my time way more efficiently, giving my clients a much better experience, and of course, making a little bit of extra money on the side. So if you've enjoyed watching this, I really hope that you go ahead and give Fundy, MagMod, and Aftershoot a try, because these are 3 amazing companies that are going to make your experience as a photographer so much better.